Hey, hey, beauties. How are you today? This is Miss Christmas checking in with you to just kind of give some inspiration and motivation on this Tuesday. And so I wanted to encourage you and let you know that things will only change if you change it, right? Thinking that things are just going to randomly change because you're tired of it being that way, you're tired of going through whatever it is you're going through or facing whatever it is that you may be facing. Nothing is going to change unless you change it. And so that is going to require work. It's going to require commitment. It's going to require you dealing with you before anything else, right? Because you have to figure out why things are the way that they are, why they're consistently the way that it is. So, for instance, a person that's working a job that is, I don't want to say a dead end job, because you want to believe that any job that you work is not necessarily a dead end job, and that you're going to be able to move forward or move up at that particular job, and it's going to become a career and not just a job, right? But in some cases, some of us just have jobs where it's just a regular, business as usual, nothing else to do, nowhere else to go from their type of position or type of job, right? So when you want things like that to change, first and foremost, you have to know that you deserve better than what you already have. And it's not to put down your job or say your job is bad or anything of that nature, but it's to say that if you feel like you're not getting fulfilled from the job that you're doing, then it's possible that you've gotten everything out of that particular job that you were going to get. And so if you're desiring more, you're desiring to do more, you're desiring to have more, and more is not really an option where you are, then that means it's kind of time to change seats, right? Change positions and get into the next seat that you can get into, either at that job or just career wise. Sometimes in order for things to change, it requires us to get rid of things. It requires us to throw things away. It requires us to just move, right? It requires action. So when you think of change, you can't think of it in a way where it's just like, okay, well, when I go to sleep and wake up in the morning, everything is going to be different. It's just going to automatically just happen. It's not like the flick of a light switch. You just turn it on, turn it off, and you get light one minute and it's dark the next minute. It's not like that. Change sometimes takes time. It takes progress. Where you are today is probably not where you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? And you shouldn't be. You should definitely be in a different place in your life from where you were all of those different times, right? However, when it comes down to wanting things to change, you had to do something different. So, and there's a scripture that I love where it talks about when I was a child, I thought as a child and, did childish things. But when you become a man or woman, you put away childish things and you begin to walk out what it's like to be that man or woman, right? And so with that being the case, you don't continue to, as an adult, you're not going to get on a big wheel and ride that all day. First of all, anybody that want to do it, please send me a picture because I'm sure that's going to be hilarious. However, you wouldn't get on a big wheel and just ride that up and down the street all day as an adult, right? You probably want to get something that's a little bit more stable and a little bit more your speed, which would be like a bicycle, whatever everybody calls it, because people call it different things. But you want to get something that is your size, that will actually accommodate you no longer being a toddler or a tot and now being an adult, right? So it's the same thing with different things in life. You want things to change, you have to make the change. You have to make the move. One thing is for sure, it is going to take time, and none of us have a whole lot of time to waste. We just really don't, being honest about it. Some people probably do. You probably don't think anything about wasting your time or not doing anything different with your daily routine or your life, and that's fine. To each his own. What's for me may not be for you, and vice versa. And that's okay. That's what makes us all uniquely different and uniquely who we are as individuals, right? It separates us one from another, right? But I was just thinking about that because I recently had a conversation with someone about changing and knowing that they needed to change different dynamics of their life. And this is like the umpteenth time we've had this conversation. And it's not to shame anybody or anything like that, but how long will you talk about the change before you actually walk into the change? So if you're tired of that job, how long are you going to stay there before you put in an application and try to get somewhere else or get a different position from the one that you're working? If it's weight loss, right? How long are you going to say, I want to lose weight, but then you continue to scarf down goodies and snacks and sit on the couch and not go for a walk or not exercise or not do the things that you know would be more beneficial to you health-wise, in order to see the change in your weight, right? There's drastic things that need to happen sometimes in order for us to change and get on a more successful path and take a more successful journey for our lives. The first thing that has to change is your mindset. It's all in your perception and how you see things. Do you see things in a positive light? Do you see things in a negative light? How do you view different things when it comes up? Because if you are a person already who sees things in a negative way, in order for things to maybe change in your environment, you have to start thinking a little bit more positive than how you have been thinking. If you are a person who just try to think because it's so much that people want to change, like your look, right? Your clothing attire. Maybe you're still wearing things from the 90s and that's your thing. But as you're continuing to get older, you're realizing like, that might not necessarily be the look, that may be something that was good at that time, but now it's time for a more mature look. It's time for a more tailored look, tailored to your personality and more mature to who you are now and not who you were then, right? So it's important that we realize that in order for things to change, that we have to put in the work. At your job, if you are wanting a promotion and things of that nature, if you come in late all the time, if you are disgruntled, if you're not a people person or a friendly person, how likely do you really think it's going to be that you're going to get that promotion that you want to go to another position so that you can continue to be a mean and disgruntled individual, or you can continue to be standoffish, right? That's not the way that you're going to achieve that. That's not the way that it's going to work out for you if that is your outlook and your stance on it already. You're going to have to change. And so I know for some people, change is really easy. Some people, like with smoking cigarettes, some people are able to quit cold turkey the same day that they say, you know what, I'm not going to smoke another cigarette. They stop that day. They throw the last cigarette away, or if they're smoking, they'll go ahead and put that cigarette out. They'll give the pack away or throw the pack away or whatever. I've heard various different stories about how people have done it. And for some people, they have to wean themselves off. But that's still a change that they make, right? And they go from doing things like smoking 2 or 3 in a day to maybe only smoking 1, or I don't know if that's realistic or not. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I don't know. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. They may cut that number down from what they normally do on a daily basis to something that's substantially less and less until they're no longer doing it. So if you really want change to be a part of your life, you want things to be different in your life, you have to be the change you want to see. It starts with you. It starts with your mindset. It starts with you getting in position and being ready for those things. And it is going to take work. It is going to take time. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself some grace for the change and for that transition to happen in your life. And trust me, you'll be happy with the end result once you make that first step. But the thing is, you got to make that first step. Nobody can make the change happen for you but you. So let's go. Time to make that change.